We are in business.
Discord for the win.
Whoop, whoop.
Are we recording again?
Yes. Whoop. Oh.
It's not a big thing.
Dad. Yes, right? We need help. A lot of it. I do. It's cute. Want to see what I did to my cup that already exists? I'm backwards. No, I'm not a Stanley girl. This is a towel.
Mine is BOP.
Not sponsored. No.
We hear that all the time. Not sponsored.
Right, hashtag not spons. No. We're out here supporting. We are broke. Please don't send us an invoice. I don't know either. I'm not sure. If anyone is versed in legal stuff, please let us know if we cannot, because we don't know. We're just here. It's busy. But he's like, no, I want to be at the podcast, Mom. Mom. Ah. All right. I have my notes. Oh, goodness. All right. So, I have a list of things. Hey! Alright, so I suppose we should probably introduce ourselves.
Yes.
We did our best, and unfortunately, our tech team, Ms. Bean, failed us. I know. So then we briefly promoted her to HR, and then she was let go for bullying and harassing our staff. Yeah, it was very quick. So I mean, it was kind of like a roller coaster. You were either like there for it, or you're just kind of like, oh. Yeah. My dad made the suggestion to hire her to HR, and so we followed his advice, and boy, was he wrong. He is the CEO of Dads. Of Dads. He does the dad stuff, and he does the dad stuff well. We're all a little dysfunctional over here, so it's partially his fault. We got wine. Yes. Oh yeah, sorry, you said wine and I got excited. Totally forgot. Yeah, so introducing ourselves. My name is Emily, and this is the Anxious Baddies Book Club. Because we're anxious, and we're baddies, and this is a book club. And, I don't really have much to say. I like books. I have animals. Occasionally, there might be a guest star coming in from the other room, uninvited. His name is Michael.
Oh yeah, Michael.
Right. But that's about me. I mean, everything's quirky over here. We're fighting. I got dropped. Sure do. This is a big thing, stepping out of our comfort zone for us to put ourselves on the internet. So this is a safe space. Be nice to us. We aren't here for that. We are here for positivity and snarky comments. Okay. Right. Yes, this is a train show. Or a train show. This is a train wreck of a show. Yeah, so this isn't a train show, so I'm sorry for whoever I got excited about that. This is a train wreck of a show. We weren't meant to be hosts, but here we are. We weren't meant to host anything, and I'm pretty sure the general public will try and, because we're here to stay. Yes. We are here, we are awkward, and we're here to stay. We'll tell them to stop. Alright. On to the next order of business. Here is your official warning. This episode and most other episodes will contain spoilers because this is a book club. We have read the book and we are ready to talk about it. And also cussing because that is just what we do. Have we made it so far without cussing? Or have we swore yet? I don't think we have. I don't think so either. High five! Go us! Alright, so while she does that, I will introduce you the first book of the series. It is a 3-part series, and this may be backwards. I don't know how to fix that, and I am sorry. So I will read it to you as I can see it, and you're just going to have to trust me. So the first one is The Tattooist of Auschwitz. That's backwards, right? No, yours is forward for me. Okay, so update. We are learning that Discord is lying to us. This is backwards to me. Okay. Well, you know what? And it's not backwards to me. So, um, when we post this, y'all will understand because you guys will be able to see one is backwards for one of us, and then it's not backwards for the other one. You know what we mean. But as long as one of us, it's probably you because I'm recording here, so you're probably gonna have to show. There you go. Yes. So she has a different cover than mine, but I mean they're all still the same book. We both read it, and we're here to talk about it. Okay. So now going into this one, we have a few notes that we've written down, so hopefully that will kind of keep us on track. Oh, yeah, okay. I suppose we could introduce the books at first, because I did say it was a 3-part series, so here's the second book. Oh, nope, I lied, that's not the second book. This is the second book. Here's the second book. We, again, have different covers, but they're the same book. We both read it, and we're here to talk about it. This is the second book that we'll be going over. Now, here's the third book. It's the same cover, and it's the right book this time on my part. Oh, we're also very silly here, so be silly with us. Okay, so now that I got my disorganized ducks in a row, alright, so and we've already talked about this one in our first recording, but again, our HRIT combo screwed up, and she's fired, so. Alright, but as I said in our first video, I am a firm believer that books like this is important. It may not be, a rom-com or a book that you would normally pick off the shelf, I guess, or something like that, unless you're into stuff like this. But it may not appeal to the eye for other reasons, but the things in these books were reality for millions of people, and it's important to learn from history to avoid atrocities from repeating. And these are atrocities that should never be repeated. So again, it's important to expand your knowledge on stuff like this, so that way we can let it not happen again. So that is my take on that. But my overall rating for this book was a 4, which is will read again. I think we have a scale.
Yeah.
I have them written down. I wanted to make a sign out of them. Right? We are. Yeah, we're here for the long haul. It may be inconsistent, but we're gonna be here. Alright. But our rating scale is 5 stars, basically. 1 star is abomination. 2nd star is absolutely not. 3rd star is meh, maybe. 4th is will read again. And 5 stars is fucking fantastic. Yeah, so that is our grading scale for these books. Mine was a 4, so that is will read again.
It's important that you recognize when things kind of start going not so good direction. And it's important as well to like people who don't share the same beliefs with you to be your circle, so that you get them, they can learn from you, instead of always connecting with somebody maybe separately, but just being like really like say support in that moment. And when they kind of face the
And it also gives another perspective too, because most of the books are written on behalf of the eye of who went through that. So it may not have been written by the person who had experienced it themselves, but that Heather Morris acts as their voice. Um, 2 of the 3 books are from the information did come from the person directly who went through these atrocities, and one of the books is based off of documentation. As the person that the book was written about, unfortunately, wasn't alive when Heather Morris wrote the book. So she did do her best off of what she had available to her and what people were able to tell her and what she found through documentation. So, and it's important to read the acknowledgments in the back of the book, as well as the other information too, because it does open your eyes to a lot of different things. There's a lot of information at the end of those books that I definitely encourage you to read. Alright, so, did you say your rating? Four. Alright, so the consensus of Anxious Baddies Book Club, which is a mouthful to say, by the way, so if I trip over it, it's an ongoing thing. I can't even say that. It's a struggle over here. I had to re-record that video several times for the unboxing, so it was rough. But yes, so the general consensus for the rating for the art, both of us as a total, is a 4. So we'll read again. And it is a good book. I want to call it a work of art, but I also want to mention that these are facts. So definitely would recommend anyone to read.
Yes.
And so we had a couple questions written down for ourselves to kind of go over in the book. One of them was our favorite character. Mine was Lael, and I chose Lael because Lael was smart. And if I'm looking down, it's because I've written this down so that way I don't stumble. But Lael was smart, and he helped people. He was able to work the system in his favor. In most cases, he did what he had to survive, while also trying to keep those close to him alive. He risked his life several times. A brave person when others have lost hope. And that was one of the reasons why he was my favorite character.
I also chose Leo. The perseverance that he had, living at the concentration camps and seeing the horrors, and taking care of people around him without, like, even adding to them. Like, he just did it. And he's here on, like, losing his life all the time. Like, and he still found ways to help people. And, but, I mean, that kind of tenacity and will-lived, we've got a lot of people who have that, not a lot of people will or have that today. And reading about it in this book is really inspiring. And telling us to fight back. And we love to see Adam and John being strong.
And when you mentioned that he risked his life several times, I do remember a part of the book where one of the SS officers compared him to a cat having 9 lives, because he did put himself in a lot of risk just to keep other people alive the best that he could.
Yep.
So, and then that leads to our next one, which is our least favorite character. Mine was Beretsky, and I chose Beretsky as my least favorite character because while he did help Lael out at times, he had absolutely no hesitation on killing him if he felt like it. He had no problem letting prisoners know that their life was in his hands, and with how wishy-washy he was, I'm sure was just as terrified. People's lives meant nothing to him. Keeping prisoners, second-guessing their fate was a game for him.
I agree with that too. He's one for me is my least favorite character. But I chose Dr. Nicholas because he's actually fairly well known even outside of this book. Of him being just a terrible person doing experiments on human beings, like using anesthesia, like operating on them, like just absolutely horrible human being. The fact that he was also just like literally covering over all the times they came when it was like you're gonna come see me someday. That was one of my favorite parts of the book so much. So he was my least favorite character.
The mind games that they played on these people were just horrible, and I couldn't imagine. One of the things that I have written down to kind of keep in mind while I'm reading a book is, okay, so I just decided to yeet something off of the couch.
Oh, sorry.
Butthead. Anyways, one of the things I have written down to keep in mind while reading a book is, would you trade places with the character from the book? And cowardly as it may seem, my answer would be no, because of all the things that they talk about in the book. And, just from what you have heard, learning it in school and all that other stuff. So, I may be a coward, but I don't think I would have lasted as long as Lael was able to hold himself out for. So, with that, we have like quotes and stuff, and then our favorite parts of the book. But one of the quotes that stuck out for me in this book was when, I believe it was Cilka, or Cilka. She was talking to Lael, and she was being abused by one of the SS officers, and she says, "This is a man whose soul has died and whose body is waiting to catch up with it." And I think that sentence portrays very truthfully of the people who were in charge, the SS officers, the capos, and just anyone who was really in charge and who had an ounce of power, and who thrived off of it. They had no problem letting you know who was in charge, and to be at that point where you are senselessly beating someone to death, especially who had done nothing wrong, you have had to have lost your soul, especially if you were a caring person at some point in your life. And it's only a sentence, but I think that sentence was a pretty powerful part of the book. I tabbed it and I wrote it down because that's the only way I can do anything around here. Right. Da, 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 da. Yeah, probably. I mean, anything can be elevator music if you try hard enough.
Well, let's just take it here. One of the favorite pieces from actually past the epilogue into the album about one of their sons, Lamb he talked about like his parents, and he mentioned how he got hit.
Oh.
And he basically, and he said that some of them really upset because he didn't want to eat one of his ways. And so he like had his friend come over and eat instead. And that made him happy. And it's like, you know, like you have little things like that where like you know, they would smoke that food and before they really could cat food, and so they kind of like it becomes like a lifeline for them almost. Like or like
It's almost, I think it's almost like hoarding.
yeah.
When
Like with that it's really puts in perspective of like how something so simple as food, like not having it really messes you up. So that was one of the pieces or favorite quotes that I liked.
let's see here. And then, I mean, to my favorite parts of the book, it's hard to have a favorite part of the book when the book is, you know, written around so much death and hurt and pain. But again, this is stuff that happened in real life. But finding any enjoyable part during the bad parts is a little horrific. But I did find a part at the end where Lil was free. He wasn't at the camps anymore. He was I think that he was trying to find his family and find Gita. But he was stopped by an officer, I believe, and they were questioning his religion and stuff. And I found it a little humorous that he was willing to pull down his pants to prove his religion. I'm just like, it wouldn't fall on you if you would stop trying to knock it over. Yeah. Right? I've had it for years, and I'm glad I'm able to put it to test, or put it to work. But I also have a fat orange cat here who's trying to sit on the pillow and just keeps knocking it over on himself, so whatever.
Are you sure he's not trying to say anything?
He's trying to tell me it's food time, but he was naughty today, so he can wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They can wait.
For sure. Alright. But then I also found it a little humorous when Lael became a pimp for the Russian soldiers. And then, while being a pimp for the Russian soldiers, he pocketed money and he pocketed jewels, and he basically brought them the girls, stole their truck and was like, peace out, Girl Scout, and left. Because they trusted him very quickly, by the way. they trusted him so early on for him to not steal any money from them, and he was basically a pro at it at Auschwitz, um, because in the book, uh, the prisoners would, I think they were building and stuff like that, but they found jewelry and jewels and stuff like that. But they would give those to Lael for goods, food, and other stuff that he could get from either the SS officers or whoever else. So he was very proficient at it, to say the least. But yeah, I found it funny that he was just like, "Bye, I got your jewels and your money." Right? So yeah, that was my two favorite takeaways from the book. Or happy parts. But I'm keeping that in there. Right? Right. Right. And especially, oh, go on. Right? Love is good. But yes, love is love. But finding love in such horrible circumstances, I think, is one of the big reasons they were able to keep going and keep pushing for their freedom. So that way they could continue loving each other outside of the camps and in their own freedom. And I know pretty early on in this one here, the Tattooist, um, Lael finds Gita pretty early on, and it's like love at first sight for him. Like, he knows, um, and he continued to push Gita so that way they could make it out alive and continue their lives. And they did. For a while after they were free, they were separated, so they weren't able to see each other for, I'm not sure exactly how long. But that kind of coincides with one of my other favorite parts of the book is when Lael found Gita, because she was just out with some friends, and he spots her on the street after trying to find her for so long, and then they were reunited, and then he's just like, "Will you marry me?" And he's just like, "Yes," or she's like, "Yes." Right? Like, it's like, oh, because you know damn well that other people who came out of the concentration camps were not as blessed or lucky. And that, it just, reading this at least puts kind of a better taste in, instead of just knowing that they escaped and they lost their friends, they lost their family, they lost everyone. But no, they found each other at the end of the book. They were able to get married. They were able to have a baby. And I hope that they enjoyed, what freedom that they did have for the rest of their lives. So that's my take on the Tattooist of Auschwitz. Woo! Right, 1 down, 2 to go. We do. All right. Yeah, no, we're pretty we're sarcastic, but we're friendly. Yeah, no, don't throw books. chances are you probably spent money on it, so do not do that. Oh, yes, okay, I wasn't sure if we were there yet.
Yes. So I'm never gonna do like the same Auschwitz. Cilka's or Cilka's, we don't know. Somebody knows.
Right.
But we're gonna, should we just say,
I think it's Cilka because her name is Cecilia, isn't it?
okay, let's do Cilka.
Okay, and I mean, if we're wrong, by all means, we are not above learning, so if you know, let us know.
Yeah.
I suppose we could probably Google it too, I'm not sure.
So I'm gonna go this, and also will read again. Because just the sheer craziness of what this lady goes through. Like from going to from Auschwitz to under the Russians. So she goes from one shitty situation into another shitty situation. Like, and it's crazy. Like whereas some people got free after years, she didn't. She was not free. She had to go through the Russians. And I just thought that was just crazy. And obviously, like, towards the end, it was a happier ending, which I love. But yeah, I would read this again.
Yes.
4 stars.
Alright. And then, this one, before I get into it, this is the one where she wasn't alive. The main character of the story, I believe if I am correct, did not get to meet with Heather, the author. And this is the one that she references in the back as going through documentation and then the people who knew her. So I believe that she did this as accurately as she could. But I did rate this one a 5, just because for me, it went into more depth, and I think it explained a lot more for me what happened to her in her time at the prison. And a lot of stuff went into it, because yes, they were still fighting to survive. Conditions weren't very great for them. Yeah, it was probably a little bit better than being at Auschwitz and Birkenau. Okay. But it still wasn't good. People were still dying and people were still not treated very well. But it was, I suppose, a little bit better off than being at Auschwitz. So I did give this one a 5. There was, I think, more, bit more of, I had more of a connection to this one than I did with the first one. But
I feel like, whereas this one felt, it was good, but I felt like Cilka's journey had a lot more substance in it, for sure.
Yes. So that kind of leads us into our. Oh, we kind of forgot a question on the first one. If it was movie worthy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But luckily for us, the Tattooist of Auschwitz is already a movie, so we didn't really have to answer that, because whether or not we thought it was or not, but we both did think it was. It is already a movie, so I haven't watched it yet. But if you get the chance to, go and do it. But anyways, back to this one. Would this be movie worthy? I do think that this would be movie worthy. And I don't know if it is a movie or not. I haven't checked. But if it isn't, I would say that this is a movie-worthy book for sure.
100%.
But going on, my favorite character is Cilka, and like the reason why is like Lael in the Tattooist of Auschwitz. She's generous in many ways. She gave up so much of her safety for others. She even gave up her shot at freedom for Josie and her baby to stay together and not get separated.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is my favorite as well. One of the reasons was despite all of that, and it's kind of like Leo in that sense that she had me in all of her suffering. Like she found that working at the hospital actually made her feel better despite all the bad stuff and her support for Josie and her baby and like fighting for them was most amazing. So yeah, she's my favorite.
Right, and that leads us to our least favorite character. And for this one, I had two. And I think at the same time, though, like it kind of changes because they're not really my least favorite, but they're also not my favorite. But they did some like shady stuff in the book, and it just kind of like made me mad and impulsively write them down as my least favorite. But my first one was Elena. She like hardcore pissed me off. She was so mean at first, and like I understand, like you guys are all coming from all sorts of rough situations. Not the same ones either. Not all of them are prisoners from Auschwitz or Birkenau. Some of them were just thrown into that prison for other wrongdoings or stuff that the government at the time thought was wrongdoing. And so yeah, she was so mean at first. She had shoved Josie into the hot stove, and she had burnt her hand, and that was kind of a rough situation because she couldn't work, and prisoners were also still treated like dog shit. And it was just by the grace of God that Cilka was able to take her to the hospital each day and have her get her hand rewrapped and stuff like that. And so luckily Josie was able to get the help to heal so she didn't get killed or something like that. But throughout the book, though, her character grows and she does, there becomes some sort of understanding between Cilka and Elena. I can't quite remember if they have, it's not really quite a friendship, but more of an acquaintanceship on good terms. Right? But then my second one was Hannah. She was just such a bitch. And again, understandably so. She would endured hardship and stuff like that. But what happened was Hannah had been at the camps with Cilka, and while Cilka was at the concentration camps, she did what she did to survive, and so she didn't necessarily have consensual sex with the guards, but there was some sort of a transaction going on where she basically got to keep her life, but she also got some other amenities that the other prisoners didn't get. Like she got a warmer coat and stuff like that in the harsh winters. So she definitely got treated a little bit better than the other prisoners did, and Hannah held that over her head in exchange for stuff that she wanted. Um, Hannah was heavily addicted to drugs, and in the end, or towards the end, when protests break out at the prison for better treatment of the prisoners, Hannah does get fatally injured, but she dies in Cilka's arms. And I think there becomes kind of a mutual understanding that Hannah was addicted to the painkillers because she needed an out from the suffering. And in a lot of cases, that's kind of how drug addicts in general are. There's so either they're in it for the fun, or a lot of times drug addicts use it for the escape. And that's what she was doing.
Well, and I think like with those characters too, it's like they're in such a bad situation that the way that they are, it's their fault, but it's also the situation's fault because they're just like kind of at their, they're just doing what they feel like they need to do.
Right.
And being like how they need to be to survive. Like, and it really, like, from concentration camps, so they would just kind of say, right, down. But I
Was who?
with
Boris. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've written him down as my least favorite character too, but like, he couldn't read the room, man.
No, he was just kind of like Boris.
Yeah. Like, I love you! Uh-huh, yep. Don't you love me too? I care for you deeply, Boris.
Yeah, Boris is something else.
Oh, yeah.
That was fine.
Alright.
Well, can I say if I thought this movie really
Okay. Yeah, I know I had said I thought it was, but maybe I thought you were disagreeing with me. I don't know. Okay. Alright. We both agree that this is movie worthy. And I know I rated it a 5, you rated it a 4. So our general consensus would be 4.5?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure because I'm not sure how that works. Missy, please stop.
No, I think disagree. We almost rated it a 5 too. I was teetering 4.5.
Okay.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yep.
Sweet. Alright, so now one of my quotes that I had written down that kind of stuck out to me was, I believe it was when she was in the closet with one of the doctors who was helping her. She's one of, I probably should have written her down as one of my favorite characters too. She was one of the doctors at the hospital, and she helped out Cilka a lot. And I can't remember her. It starts with a Y, I think. Yelena, I believe her name was. But anyways, she had taken Cilka into the closet because not a lot of people knew that she was from the concentration camps. Cilka was very on the low about it. She didn't want people to know where she came from. I don't think she wanted people to know that she was a Jew either. She was doing, yeah, she was doing what she could to kind of keep her identity a secret, basically. But the doctor had taken her into the closet, because she had an inkling that she knew what Cilka had been through. So, they're in there, and she says, kind of goes what she goes through, and Then she says, I just want to live. I need to feel the pain. I wake up every morning knowing that I am alive, or knowing I am alive and my family aren't. This pain is my punishment for surviving, and I need to feel it, live it. That is deep. I feel like part of that I would have said as an emotional teenager, but in this case, it holds meaning behind it. She.
When I got thinking about it, and like not to avoid the pain would be kind of like an insult to the people that went through all that.
Mm-hmm. I know, right? Ugh, get out of there. I'm not crying, you are. I'm weird. Like, I don't get really emotional when I read books for some reason. I can kind of, can't say the word, but I know what I'm trying to say. I can, compartmentalize. Yeah, that word. Listen, I've tried saying it several times that I have just learned that I can't. But yes, I have learned to done that. Learned to do that. It definitely helps when reading, that's for sure. But yeah, it's a very emotional book, but if I don't seem emotional about it, it's because I'm very good at putting things in boxes and dealing with it later. Mostly in the most raw. Well, when you trip over and all the feelings spill out, though. I have feelings, though, I promise. I'm not an inhumane person. I mean, I do, too. That's why I put them in a box. I don't like feeling them. It's unhealthy. I don't recommend doing that. I've been told it's bad, but. Mm-hmm. That is deep, and I hope that man said it. Right? Right? Right. Mm-hmm. Well, that was my favorite part of the book. Right, it was. I know, it's like they get on the train and they're like, I think she felt a sense of relief when she saw him. Because I mean, throughout the book, when the book first mentions Alexander, and I'm like, that's the one. He better make it. Yeah. But I think that's the talking points that I had for that one. I said I don't know if I can necessarily say this on the internet or not, but I called was it Hannah or was it? Hold on. I think it was Hannah. Hold on. I didn't write it on my iPad for some reason because I don't know. I was feeling generous when I was writing about her as my least favorite character, but I wrote one of the two as cunt. Elena. Yes. It was Elena. I was so mad when Elena had pushed Josie into the fireplace. I'm like, what is I know. I felt so bad for her too when um oh when like she's just so innocent and she has her innocence ripped away by that one guy. I Vadim, yeah, it's something like that. Um and the thing about these is that at the concentration camp, yeah, people were being raped, having sex, and all this other stuff. Um, but at the prison, um, they had basically like it was a board of um, some sort of prisoners. Well, the men were still prisoners, but they were highly thought of or something like that. So the organizers of the camp, people who were in charge, basically let them choose who they wanted to assault in the women's camp. And a lot of them became pregnant. They had to create a maternity ward. That's how bad it was. Um, and that's where Josie ended up going for a while too, because she ended up getting pregnant by that one guy. I can't remember his name. And she's able to stay in there for 2 years to watch her kid grow up. But after 2 years, they get separated. I remember a point in the book where they say that the kids basically go to become workers, or they grow up to become workers. And the moms are just separated from them. They're basically treated like cattle in a way. Um, but Cilka is handled basically like a get out of jail free card, and she uses it on Josie so she can be with her kid, and that is such a selfless act.
Looks like connections going.
We're back. You can see the evolution of when I got annotation notes.
See, I didn't go with this one. I did it with Cilka, so I just came out.
I didn't have any for these two. So I got a bunch of them, and then this one I'm like, ooh, this is important. Ooh, this is important. It was a disaster, but
We're at the theater tabs. They're tab
I got a whole bunch of them.
I was gonna say this is a book. You can tell it's a book because of the way it is.
You can tell that it's a book because it is rectangular and it has annotation marks.
It has pages and pages.
Nom nom. I am a book. Nom nom. Chomp. I ate you. Yummy, yummy. Something salad. Yeah, fruit salad. There it is. I'm like, shit. Yummy, yummy. Fruit salad. I mean, at least you have like a time of day where it decides to jump ship because mine's never around. I love it. Yes. In the sanctity of our text messages. All right. Yes. Back. Huh? Oh, yeah. Hold on. I have. I have to learn how to use my iPad apparently. Um. All right. Yes. So the rating, I gave this a 4. It was a good book, but I gave it a 4. Yeah. I didn't want to say it, but yeah. We did. We powered through them. It was a struggle, but we did it. Okay. Yeah, and that's fair. I don't do well with long series either. It is a bit of a struggle. Sorry. No, there's a lot of heavy stuff in all 3 of these books. And by all means, do what is best for your mental health. If you need to take a break in between books and just read like a refreshing, um, or just something that can elevate your mood a little bit. Because yes, what happened to all of these people in these books is very heartbreaking, heart wrenching. There's a bunch of emotions in these books, to say the least. Um, we also understand. No, you're good. Yes, and um, it's important to know the history of what happened, but by all means, if it is overwhelming, take a step back, do something for your mental health. Don't let it consume you and put you into a dark spot. So, but yeah, I think so. You said meh, so general consensus is 3.5? Okay. Sweet. Um, I did rate this though a movie worthy book. Um, just same reason for the other 2. Is it has a good. I don't want to say it has a good story to it because I mean what happened to it's real life that happened to these people. And I don't want to um, uh, say, oh, it had a good plot to it because I mean the plot was kind of inevitable. Nice. I don't know if I'm going to be able to edit the butthole out or not. I can find a way to put a star there.
Oh my god.
Or, sorry, legal says, like, listen, our legal team isn't gonna like this. Yes. It is smoothie. I keep saying smoothie like it's a smoothie. Movie worthy book. I have a bad habit of trying to combine all of my words, even though they're not combination. It's okay. I have a speech impediment. There's a whole list of words that I can't say. Or I can say them, but they're not right. But yes. Movie worthy for shizzle. I didn't have a favorite character. Mine were all three of the girls. Because I mean, like you, I was also kind of burnt out, but I was also very hell bent on trying to. Yes. Right. But the three sisters. I mean, at an early age, they lost their father, which is hard, especially if you've lost a parent in real life at a young and early age. Losing a parent at any age is devastating. But this was the reality back in that day, and he made the girls promise him that they would watch out for each other because he had a feeling that he wasn't going to make it much longer. He had a bullet, I think it was next to the carotid artery. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right, but it was near somewhere, and he was having surgery to have it removed. Well, unfortunately, the surgery didn't go well, and he ended up passing away on the operating table. And this was something that he was kind of seeing was going to happen, so he made the girls promise him again to watch out for each other, to protect each other, because at that time, I think they knew that something was amiss. Without knowing what was going to happen, they knew that stuff was going to head south very quickly, and it did. Um, and I think when they made the promise, they were also very, very young. They were children. I think Livy was barely old enough to talk. She was referencing herself in third party, so um, that kind of sets the tone for how old they were. Um, but that I think that's why I chose them as my favorite characters, because they watched out for each other as best as they could, even though they were separated. I think for 2 years or so. Livy and Phoebe were together at the camps. But Magna, yeah, Magda was at home with her mom. Um, because the doctor, I also kind of listed him as a favorite character too, because he knew that the Germans were coming to take the children who were of age to go work at the camps, and or work for the Germans. They didn't know at the time that they were going to go to concentration camps, but the doctor kept Magda in the hospital, citing bad fever, and he tried to keep her in there as long as he could to prevent her from going to the concentration camps, which he did. Unfortunately, the sisters did get separated because they were taking anyone that they could. But the doctor was kind enough. I'm sure he probably risked his job and other things to keep her behind, to keep her from going. So
Absolutely.
I think that was brave. Let's see here. And for my least favorite character, I think I had two. There was Visick and then Isaac. And for Visick, I mean, granted, uh, I it's really hard to narrow down the least favorite characters because, I mean, if I could, I would list, the whole German party and
Well, yeah, we actually did say that last time.
yeah,
We just put, like, the Nazi party as our least favorite character.
hmm
That was really close.
right, yeah, that would, really help. Um, but I mean, as far from what I've read, Visick and Isaac, but Visick, it was described in the book that he was once a friend of, um, I think it was Stevie. Uh, yes, he was once a friend of Stevie, but he had joined the Cilka and turned against her. He turned against, I'm sure, if he had other Jewish friends or whatever, he turned against them too. Uh, I, it doesn't specify or go into detail about their friendship before he went into the Helinka, um, but it sounds from how it was written in the book that they were at least somewhat good friends, and he had just turned sour against her. Um, he was basically taunting like her family, like you're gonna go work for the Germans. You can't keep hiding from us, and it's just so hard to see someone uh, who you would have considered a good friend in your life to turn against you so hard. So I can't imagine that, and I just didn't like him for that. Um, but then there's Isaac. Um, he had beat a person to death in front of Livy, I think the SS officer. I think Isaac was a capo. Um, the SS officer had to take away his stick or whatever it was that he was beating the prisoner with, because he was just keep going. He would have kept going at it if he didn't have it taken away. And then Livy saw it. She saw it firsthand. He saw her seeing it happen, and then he's like, wanted to go after her next, but the SS was just like, she works for us, she doesn't work for you. So I mean, I think that was kind of like the first time that the SS kind of really shed some sort of hope in all of these books, because in all the other cases, the SS officers are just jerks in the books. But he's like, she works for us, not you. And he's like, and he refers to himself in third person too, which is just weird for an adult. If you're not being silly, that's just weird. He's like, Isaac never forgets a face. I think if I remember correctly too, there was a time when they were on the boat, on their way to, Israel. I was gonna get there, one time or another. But when they're on the boat, working their way over to Israel, I think she sees him again. I think that's the same one. And at first he's like taunting and stuff like that because he still thinks that he's got some leverage over her.
Yeah.
But another time that she sees him on the boat, she has like a knife in her pocket or something like that, and she goes up to him, and I can't remember if he was still kind of being snarky, but she goes, if I scream, who are they gonna believe, you or me? And he's like, I have every, I can change, or something like that. Like, I am as much of as right of having a second chance as you are, basically. And it's just like, are you sure about that, buddy?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're all for growth and we're all for change. Like, we all want everyone to be a better human being. But, like, bro, like, not that long ago, you were, kind of beating somebody up. And, like, have you really had that much time to grow, buddy?
Cody, stop. He's getting ridiculous right now.
It's okay. Mike is staring at the stove right now.
There's just like freaking idiots.
I threw a pen at him to break up the fight. Oh, sorry.
It's like, no, you're fine. It's so hard to feel bad for somebody like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't.
I know. It really is.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's like, did you really change, or are you just trying to stay alive and not get her in trouble, or not get in trouble by the people who would easily throw you overboard?
I love Libby and Sticky so much.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just love them.
There is a lot to say about them because, I mean, there were times in the book where I think their relationship between them became thin and so strained.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, that's at no fault of their own. I mean, they were struggling to survive is basically what it was. It's amazing how, a promise to their father was able to keep them going in one way or another, to keep them surviving.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now did you go?
Favorite part?
Did you say your least favorite character?
My favorite.
Okay.
Isaac as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure, but yes, go on.
They got together.
Yeah, that was. I know. Yes. I also have it as when they are finally free. I mean, it's really hard to say when they became free, because at some point when they were leaving the concentration camp in a sort of a convoy walk.
Yeah.
And at some point the officers, they were taking them to another camp, another concentration camp, but I think the SS officers that were marching along were just like, no, and they just dipped out. So eventually, like, the security that was keeping them there fell apart, and I think there was only one SS officer, and he was just like, keep marching, and like, there's a bunch of us and there's one of you, what are you gonna do? And then they got free, or they were able to start their journey on where they were meant to be at the end. But it's still a hard journey though, because they know their mom and they know their grandpa are gone. I think they were the last ones to go through the gas chambers with the crematorium before basically shutting down for good, because the Russians had ceased their operations. But that walk in the winter time was so brutal for them. And then I know they had a little girl with them, Eva, I think it was. I can't remember, but they did carry, not carry, they kind of like adopted a fourth sister, but when they went to the Red Cross, essentially, and unfortunately they were separated, in hopes that she could find some family, but she already knew that she didn't have any more family. She had known that they were gone, which is unfortunate. I really wish life would have kept them together, because they had become close. And that was kind of sad for me, but I mean, they were reunited. All three of the sisters were reunited, and then down the road, their uncle was able to join them as well with his kids. Without his wife, unfortunately, she had lost her battle in the walk. But I mean, at least they were able to. The ones who were able to survive were able to get back together. They weren't completely lost. But then also my favorite parts of the book too were when the girls go on and find their partners in life, and they go on to have their children and stuff. Like, they were creating their own family. Granted, they weren't as near as I'm sure that they wish they would have been near, because I know they had kind of spread out and grew their families in different places, but they were still together though. Yeah, that's true. Right. Spaced out, but close. The Tattooist did. I don't think my last. Oh, yep, I do. Okay. This one did. I don't think Cilka's Journey did. Yeah. So the ones that have pictures for me at the end, was this one and then the Three Sisters. Right? It's just so sweet. Yes. It is. It's very sweet, how they were able to find. Uh, I am recording now. So,
Okay.
yeah, sorry about that. That was our official first episode, or pilot episode, if you will, of the
Yes.
Anxious Baddies Book Club. Yay! Thank you. uh, and it feels good. I think maybe next time going forward, we maybe should do one book at a time.
Yeah.
We have been recording for a little over 2 hours, and we're
Yeah.
I'm a
It
li-
honestly doesn't seem that long. It really doesn't.
but then I look outside, and it's like pitch black outside. Yeah, it's crazy. We did take a bit of an intermission earlier though, so we could take care of our animals because they are important to us, and we want to keep them happy, healthy, and fed, and keep them from yelling at us. So.
Yeah, but she's, I know he's still yelling at me.
I have
I think he just missed me.
quick intermission. One of the cats just knocked over the trash. Yes. So we did it. Yes. Oh, it doesn't feel like we've been recording for over 2 hours, but apparently, lesson learned. It kind of cuts out after 2 hours. Did not know that. We know now, right? But I don't think we will do series like this for a while. Unfortunately, us, we have a hard time as it is just reading and keeping on track. And that's why we created the book club.
No pressure for the ABBC.
No pressure whatsoever. But that is partially why we did create the Anxious Baddies Book Club, is to motivate each other to read, because we do like to read, but our brains don't like to read. Or something like that. It's
weird.
It's weird. My brain is just has several tabs open and just trying to find the reading tab. It's lost in there. Yeah, it's a problem. I'm sure we're all over here, just living life undiagnosed with our ADHD. ADHD, let's go. It's a disaster. Okay, you do that. But anyways, so if you guys have any book suggestions that you'd like to send our way, by all means, go ahead and do so. You can either DM us or you can email us at anxiousbaddies.bookclub@gmail.com. And I think that's about it. Yeah. We sure do. And we'll try to, keep. Sorry, Michael is mocking somebody over there. But yeah, so we do try to keep our. I think we're mostly active on our Instagram. I like to take pictures, so I'm mostly putting pictures on there. Thank you. I'm putting my college degree to use. Finally, after 10 years. It's fine. This is fine. Right? We are doing our best, and that's all we can ask of ourselves, and that's all we ask of you, is do your best. But follow us there. We also have a YouTube channel, which I'm sure we'll be posting this on. We have a TikTok account, so go follow us there. The TikTok. And then if you have a Goodreads, we also have a Goodreads account there. I don't know how much traction that's going to get. But if you want to follow us on there, but by all means, go and do it. Because I'm trying to figure out how to do that. The Goodreads app is just clunky to me. I can't figure it out. But anyways, friends, I think it is time for us to go.
Well, yeah, I gotta rescue my dog.
Yes, go rescue your dog. But it's time for us to go. Take care of yourselves. Keep reading. And until next time, stay hydrated.
Yes. Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor to anything. We're over here winging it.